Vice President JD Vance just exposed the left's disordered priorities, and as expected, they're having a meltdown. In a powerful interview with Sean Hannity on Fox News, Vance laid out a fundamental truth. Progressives have flipped the natural order of priorities, putting illegal aliens ahead of American citizens. Pretty much any foreigner ahead of American citizens. Something even St. Augustine warned us against centuries ago. And let's be honest, we've seen it. Over the last 4 years, the Biden administration has openly prioritized non-citizens over hardworking Americans, from housing to healthcare to handouts. But here's the thing. Democrat voters are finally waking up. They're realizing that their own party has reshuffled its loyalties, placing illegal immigration at the top while leaving American citizens dead last. The party that once claimed to fight for the working class now fights for everyone except them. Vance broke it down perfectly. This isn't just bad policy. It's a betrayal of the fundamental principle that family comes first. We're all Americans. We're all family when it comes to the rest of the world. And that's exactly what Donald Trump's America First agenda is all about, despite the lies coming from the progressives. So why does this ancient Christian principle trigger the modern left so much? Well, stick around and we're going to find out. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Become a subscriber if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell and smack that like button because it helps us get our message out. Now, let's talk about JD Vance and what he just did to the radical left. So Vance goes on Fox News with Sean Hannity and lays out a simple, basic truth, one that used to be considered common sense in this country. We'll get into the full concept after the clip. Give it a watch.
Something very deranged in the mind of the far left in this country, where I really do think that they feel more of a sense of compassion for illegal aliens who have no right to be in this country than they do their fellow citizens, and that really has to change.
They do.
And, you know, when Selena Gomez had her viral moment, and of course there were a lot of other celebrities who weighed in, I had people sending me photos of little kids, sometimes kids the same age as my little children. We've got, of course, a 7-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 3-year-old.
It was a great scene, by the way. When
Thank you.
Your son's playing with your hair.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But you know, kids similar age to my children who were murdered by criminal aliens in the United States of America. And as an American leader, but also just as an American citizen, your compassion belongs first to your fellow citizens.
Amen.
It doesn't mean you hate people from outside of your own borders, but there's this old school, and I think it's a very Christian concept, by the way, that you love your family, and then you love your neighbor, and then you love your community, and then you love your fellow citizens in your own country. And then after that, you can focus and prioritize the rest of the world.
That's America first.
A lot of the far left has completely inverted that. They seem to hate the citizens of their own country and care more about people outside their own borders. That is no way to run a society. And I think the profound difference that Donald Trump brings to the leadership of this country is the simple concept, America first. It doesn't mean you hate anybody else. It means that you have leadership. And President Trump has been very clear about this, that puts the interests of American citizens first. In the same way that the British Prime Minister should care about Brits and the French should care about the French, we have an American president who cares primarily about Americans, and that's a very welcome change.
What is President Xi doing? What is Vladimir Putin
He's looking after the Chinese. Putin is looking after the Russians. They're entitled to do that.
Right.
Thank God we now have an American president who's looking after the citizens of his own country.
Exactly. Well said, JD. So JD said, you love your family, then you love your neighbor, then you love your community, then your fellow citizens in your own country. And then after that, you can focus and prioritize the rest of the world. Now, that's exactly what Trump said when he identified America First's movement. He said, America First doesn't mean America last. It means we take care of everybody in America before we start worrying about the rest of the world. He was right. Something else he touched on, Mark Levin wrote a book, The Democratic Party Hates America. And he gives example after example. Come on, guys, if you're watching this video, you know they hate America. So what JD said, it sounds reasonable, right? Not to the woke elites who apparently think it's racist to love your own country before taking care of everyone else in the world first. Imagine elected politicians believing that. It's like telling their constituents to go to hell. The left hates this idea because it exposes their hypocrisy to everyone. They claim to be about compassion, Yet they mock struggling Americans while rolling out the red carpet for illegal immigrants, as we have seen in New York City, Chicago, and other blue cities and towns, where tens of thousands of illegals were shipped in by Biden, many of them flown in the middle of the night without notifying local cities, like a drug drop. And here's where it really gets crazy. Vance isn't just making a political statement. He's defending classical Christian theology. You know, the thing that civilized the world. So Vance brought up Ordo Amoris. It's a principle from St. Augustine, one of the greatest Christian thinkers in history. The idea, love must be properly ordered, which is what Vance did. Think about it this way. If your child and a cheesesteak were both in the middle of the street and a drunk driver was barreling down the street, who would you save? If you answered the cheesesteak, then congratulations, you might be a progressive from Philadelphia, because that's exactly how the left operates. And that's not just my opinion. History proves it. St. Augustine once said, further, all men are to be loved equally. He meant all people. But since you cannot do good to all, you are to pay special regard to those who, by the accidents of time or place or circumstance, are brought into closer connection with you. Now, every great civilization has recognized this natural order of love. It's why leaders prioritize their own people first. It's what Hannity said. Xi Jinping puts China first, Putin puts Russia first, and the Britain's prime minister, we hope, still puts Britain first. Okay? But according to the American left, if you put America first, you're a dangerous extremist. Remember all those MAGA extremists? This is what they believe in. We believe in America first. This concept isn't just political, it's biblical. Jesus himself affirmed the hierarchy of love in Matthew 22, 37, 39. It says, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. How many times have we heard the end of that? Did you catch the order? First love God, then love others. That's the structure of a thriving society. Now, compare that to the left's worldview. They don't just reject Christian values, they invert them. And I'm not talking about becoming a Christian, having to go to church every week and having to do all that. No, I'm talking about civilization here, okay? It's why the left sympathizes more with illegal aliens than struggling Americans, because they have inverted it. And if you dare say America should come first, they'll call you every name in the book, because they hate Christians, because Christians have this tendency to judge people for their behavior. And Christians don't think that almighty government is the top of the food chain. Radical progressives believe that government is the almighty, and they can't stand it when they can't get everyone to conform to their way of thinking. Oh, they talk a good game about fearing a theocratic society. But we've already witnessed that the progressives, at least the radical woke Marxist progressives, have time and time again done everything they could to force everyone to believe their nonsense and gobbledygook. So the end game here is a Christian nation versus a globalist chaos, which is what we have witnessed over the last 4 years. The left wants a world without borders. But here's the real thing. Christianity doesn't teach us to reject outsiders. It teaches us to strengthen our own culture first so that we can better serve others. That's why JD Vance's message is so powerful. He's calling for a return to Christian civilization. They call that Christian nationalists. And guess what? They are. That's all the Christian nationalists want. A nation where faith, family, and country come first. And honestly, that terrifies the globalists. All right, thanks for watching. Hit that notification bell if you want to stay updated on the news the mainstream media won't cover. I'll see you in the next one. Spread the word.
Little by little, piece by piece, I take back what's been stolen from me. Little by little, piece by piece, until I'm complete.